fellow joy lovers, and welcome back to Gimme That Joy. We are on episode 2, and we welcome you back. Hope that you have had a lovely time experimenting with the joy practice from episode 1. Just to give a little recap about episode 1, we started in that episode talking about the Sacred Rest Challenge that Sandra Dalton Smith has on her website, I Choose My Best Life. And we're taking each of the challenge prompts and using them as a joy practice. Because as we talked about in episode 1, joy for me, the foundation of joy is rest. And so we're going to spend the next few months discussing and experimenting with different ways to enter more deeply into rest and the multifaceted nature of rest. And so last week we got started with mental rest, right? And the whole practice of grounding. And so I hope you've had a lovely time experimenting with grounding. And as you probably gather, if you've signed up for the Sacred Rest Challenge on Sandra Dalton Smith's website, this challenge gives you a daily email of a different rest practice. Because we're doing 2 videos a week, we're going to be going through much more slowly, and it'll give you a chance to spend more time experimenting with a practice before moving on to the next. So we started with grounding last week, and this week we're going to ease on into social rest. Last week, grounding was an example of mental rest, and so this week we're going to ease on into social rest. So let's get going with that. So for social rest, we will be focusing on the rest challenge prompt number 2 as our second joy practice. And here's what it says. You are not made to do life alone. Whether married or single, we all need the communion of fellowship. Make an effort today to interact openly with others. Smile and greet the person on the elevator with you. Open the door for someone. Sit and chat with a coworker you've never spoken to before on your break. Share the love and attention you want with others. So this is an example, like we said, of social rest. And for me, it's been really cool to experiment with this. The place that I experiment with this the most is on walks with my dog, Cielo. Some of you may know her. She has an Instagram channel, Cielo921, where we post twice a week beautiful, funny, and interesting videos of and photos of her life. She just turned 4 last week, and so we celebrated her birthday there. All of that to say, Cielo and I go for walks frequently in our neighborhood. And one of the ways in which I practice this type of social rest of connecting with others in just random and not necessarily intense ways as we are walking is saying hello to folks on the way and interacting with other dog owners and their dogs and just random people that we meet on the walk, saying hello. Because it's interesting that the society we live in these days, at least for me where I'm living in a city, we're not necessarily, people don't generally just say hi. It's kind of like we walk past each other like 2 ships passing in the night, like we don't really see each other. And so while I'm walking with Cielo, she is like the perfect entryway to talking to anybody with her cute self. And I'm encouraged and I'm intentional about saying hello to people and stopping and conversing in my interesting, maybe like high beginner, low intermediate level, no, probably like middle beginner level Korean, having these little conversations with people and just sharing just presence and acknowledging that people exist. And it feels good to do that. And especially for older people that we see, they like having someone saying hello to them and acknowledging them. And so it's becoming something that I do more often than not when I walk with Cielo. And it really does feel good to connect with the people in my neighborhood that I live with and see around, even in this like, not even heavy duty, intimate way, but just fairly superficially, but acknowledging the presence, acknowledging that this person is there, that they're important, that they are worthy of attention. And so I look forward to hearing in the comments here on our YouTube channel and in our Patreon community. What is it like for you to try this at different levels, maybe of engagement? Interacting with coworkers that you don't necessarily talk to on a regular basis, maybe a little deeper interaction beyond, well, hi, how are you? Into how are things really going? And for coworkers that you do know, and for people that you do know, taking time to inquire about their family or their day-to-day life, what they did on the weekend, these kinds of things. It really, I don't know, it does something to feel like, yeah, I'm acknowledging the existence of another human being and receiving acknowledgement back. It has a calming and reassuring effect in my experience. Now, be careful how you do this where you are, because some areas people are not necessarily excited about people saying hi to them, random folks. They might interpret it differently. So do this in a way that is safe for you based on your location. So now let's ease into our Life Catalyst segment. Today's resource that I would love to recommend is from a podcast called The Diary of a CEO. It's a podcast / YouTube channel. I usually watch the episodes on the YouTube channel. The host is Stephen Bartlett, and he has had quite an array of rather interesting people on and talking about rather intriguing topics. And the episode I'd like to recommend is episode 217. In this episode, he has Jay Shetty on as his guest. They are friends from the interaction they're having, and from what they said, I gather that they're friends. And so the conversation ended up being rather intimate. And the title of the episode was quite provocative. It was, let's see here, 8 Rules for Perfect Love and Amazing Sex. Interestingly enough, the conversation focused more on how to be your most authentic self and how to help your partner or other people that you're interacting with in life to be their most authentic selves, and how to create the best conditions for intimacy. And as they explored this topic, Jay was quite open and vulnerable about his own journey in these areas, using examples from his life and his journey with his wife, and his journey from being a monk into being a regular citizen, and helping others to have the kind of monk mindset in a regular life. The things that he shared were quite powerful, quite moving, and quite helpful and encouraging for those of us who are on a journey to have more peace, more rest, and more joy in life, and to do so in relationship with others. So I thoroughly recommend this episode of The Diary of a CEO. And that is our Life Catalyst segment for today. Just before we ease into our gentle invitation into joy, let me remind you about our lovely Patreon community. Please feel free to check us out by clicking the link below this video and seeing what we have to offer so that you can, in community, get deeper into this daily journey of cultivating joy and sharing with others the highs, the lows, and all the in-betweens on that journey. It's really a great way to get encouragement and ideas of different ways to implement and experiment with our joy practices. So hope to see and interact with you there. So now, our invitation into joy. You are not made to do life alone. The idea of being intentional, be intentional about interacting with others today to whatever degree is comfortable for you at this point in your journey. And with different people, the degree of comfortability with being authentic, being interactive, and even being intimately involved in conversation, in relating with others. It will differ depending on where you are with different people in your relationship with them. And so take the opportunity to experiment between this video and the next with different degrees of intimacy, different degrees of authenticity, of interaction and of conversation, of an engagement with others. And enjoy, savor the experience. And think about, ponder, reflect on the insights you're getting as you openly and intentionally interact with others to foster community, to foster connection, and to foster closeness. Talk with you next time. Enjoy the journey until then. Bye for now.